Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Spark and Shine. There is a quiet wisdom in the things we do not say. Just as the moon does not explain its pull on the tides, you are not required to offer every part of yourself to be seen, known, or loved. In a world that prizes exposure, we forget the sacredness of mystery. We forget that silence can be strength, that what remains hidden is not always fear, but discernment. You are not a puzzle to be solved by every stranger, nor a window left open to every passing wind. There are pieces of you shaped by the divine, meant only for those who speak the language of your depth. Some truths are not withheld out of secrecy, but because they are still becoming. Protecting your essence is not a mask. It is a mirror of self-respect. You were never made to be fully understood by many, only deeply seen by a few. There's something powerful about the things we choose to keep hidden. The parts of ourselves that we don't immediately put on display for the world. We live in a time where exposure is often equated with success, where we're encouraged to share every thought, every moment, every detail of our lives with the world. But in doing so, we often forget a fundamental truth. Not everything needs to be seen. Think about the moon for a moment. It lights up the night sky, guiding us through the darkness, yet it reveals only a fraction of itself. The moon doesn't need to explain the forces that shape it or the mysteries it holds. It simply exists, quietly holding its place in the grand design of the universe. We could learn a lot from that. There's strength in the moon's mystery. It doesn't need to be fully understood to fulfill its purpose. Its beauty, its influence, and its power are felt by all who see it, even though much of it remains hidden. We too are like the moon. There's a power in the mystery of who we are, in the parts of ourselves we choose to keep to ourselves. When we reveal everything, when we lay ourselves bare for others to analyze, we lose that sacred space where our true essence resides. Poes tides. Mystery doesn't mean hiding the truth or living inauthentically. It means preserving the parts of yourself that are still becoming. It's about protecting the most delicate aspects of your spirit, the ones that can't yet be fully explained or understood. We live in an age of constant connectivity, where every thought seems to find its way onto social media, every conversation finds its way into the open. But let's consider for a moment, how often do we feel truly seen by all this exposure? When we share everything, do we feel more connected, or do we sometimes feel more fragmented? The answer lies in the idea that the more we reveal, the less we allow others to truly see us. When everything is on display, there's nothing left to be discovered. People stop searching. They stop trying to understand the layers of who we are because everything is right there on the surface. So why does mystery matter? Because it invites depth, it invites curiosity, and it demands respect. People will only see you for the full person you are when they are willing to look beyond what you show them at first glance. When you choose to keep parts of yourself hidden, you allow those who are truly worthy of seeing you to engage with you in a deeper way. They will see not just what you give them, but what lies beneath, waiting to be discovered. Think about the relationships that matter most to you. I'd wager that the people who truly understand you, who truly know you, are not the ones who have had the most access to your every thought and detail. They are the ones who have patiently taken the time to understand the subtle things, the things you didn't necessarily broadcast, but that you allowed them to witness as you moved through life. Those relationships are not based on superficial access to your world, but on the trust you've built by allowing them to see the hidden parts of you. When we withhold parts of ourselves, it doesn't mean we're hiding from others. It means we're protecting ourselves. We're protecting our energy, our essence, our purpose. And that doesn't mean we're being secretive or deceptive. It means we are honoring the sacredness of who we are and acknowledging that not everyone deserves to share in the fullness of our journey. Just like the moon, you don't need to explain why you choose to remain partly in the shadows. Your light is there, but the depths of your story are not for everyone, and that is okay. It's in this space of mystery and self-preservation, that our true growth occurs. When we don't feel the need to constantly reveal ourselves, we are free to grow in ways that are authentic to who we are. Without the pressure of constant exposure, we can evolve at our own pace, on our own terms, without the need for external validation. This is where our most profound moments of self-discovery happen. When we are alone with our thoughts, when we are not constantly trying to explain who we are to the world. In fact, by holding some parts of yourself back, you create a space for others to fill. You invite them into your world, not by offering every detail, but by allowing them to explore with curiosity, respect, and a sense of wonder. This, in turn, deepens the relationship and makes it more meaningful. When we reveal too much too soon, the depth of what we have to offer is often lost. But when we allow others to discover our essence piece by piece, when we share only what's necessary and leave space for the rest, we give them the gift of truly understanding who we are. So, I ask you to consider this. What if you stopped feeling the need to share every piece of yourself? What if you allowed yourself to remain a mystery? What if, instead of explaining your every thought, you trusted that the right people would see you without all the noise? The world doesn't need to know everything about you. The right people will understand what's hidden, and that's the kind of connection that truly matters. The mystery of who you are is not something to fear. It is the very thing that makes you irreplaceable. Hold on to it. It's your strength. When we think about the most meaningful relationships in our lives, I want you to pause and consider something. Who are the people who truly know you? Who are the ones who can look beyond the surface and see the essence of who you are, even when you haven't said a word? These are the people who understand that there's more to you than what you reveal, and they're the ones who earn the privilege of being close. But here's the truth. Not everyone deserves access to your soul. That might sound harsh at first, but think about it. Your inner world, your deepest thoughts, your hopes, your fears, your values, they are sacred. You wouldn't just hand over the keys to your house to someone you barely know, right? So why would you give someone access to the most intimate parts of yourself, without knowing if they'll honor that trust, without knowing if they'll truly see you for who you are, not just for what you can give them? We live in a world where everyone seems to want a piece of you. Oh yeah. Social media encourages us to share everything. The constant barrage of likes and followers makes it seem as though validation comes from exposure, from being seen by as many people as possible. But the reality is, exposure without discernment does more harm than good. You are not here to be consumed by the masses. You are not here to be an object of fleeting interest. You are here to live with purpose, to connect meaningfully with the people who see you for who you truly are. When you offer access to your soul, you're offering something precious. Think of it like the rarest of treasures, something not meant for everyone, but for those who are capable of understanding its true value. Not everyone who enters your life deserves that kind of access. There's an inherent danger in giving too much of yourself to people who aren't willing to invest the time, the energy, or the care to truly understand you. You can't expect everyone to honor the most sacred parts of you, as they don't even know how to honor their own. This doesn't mean you should build walls or retreat from others. It simply means you need to be discerning about who you let in. It means being protective of the parts of yourself that are still evolving, still learning, still finding their place in the world. There's a reason why we say a trust is earned. Trust isn't something that should be given away freely. It's something that must be built over time through mutual respect and understanding. The same goes for the deeper parts of yourself. You don't owe everyone your full transparency, your full vulnerability, right from the start. Relationships take time to develop, and your soul, your deepest essence, deserves to be seen by those who are ready to honor it with the care it deserves. It's easy to feel the pressure to give more of yourself, to open up and let people in. But sometimes, in the quest to connect, we forget that the greatest connections are formed not through oversharing, but through meaningful, deliberate sharing. When you reveal too much too soon, when you lay your soul bare before someone who is not yet worthy of it, you risk losing yourself. You risk giving away pieces of you that can't be returned. Once someone knows too much, there's no turning back. No turning back. They've seen the parts of you that may not yet be ready to be understood, The parts that are still fragile, still unfinished, still in process. And when you're seen in that way, without the context of growth or the wisdom of time, it can leave you feeling exposed, vulnerable, and even misunderstood. I want you to think for a moment about the relationships that have truly shaped you, the ones that have stood the test of time, that have been built on trust, respect, and understanding. Those relationships didn't happen overnight. They weren't formed through the constant sharing of every little detail, every fleeting thought. They were forged in moments of quiet connection, of mutual respect for each other's boundaries, of an understanding that not everything needs to be shared to build a deep bond. There's a reason why we value those relationships. They are founded on a deeper understanding of one another, one that is not based on the desire for exposure or validation, but on the quiet, patient work of truly getting to know someone over time. And in these relationships, you don't need to give everything away to be seen. You simply need to be authentic, to be present, and to share what matters in a way that honors both yourself and the other person. Think about the moments when you felt truly seen, truly understood. Truly understood. I'd venture to say that these moments weren't about you revealing every detail of your life. They were about you allowing someone to see the parts of you that matter most, to recognize your essence, your heart, your soul. These are the people who've earned the right to know you. These are the relationships that are worth nurturing because they are built on trust and respect, not on the constant pressure to share more. So here's the question I want you to consider. Who in your life has truly earned access to your soul? Who are the people who have shown, through their actions and their care, that they are worthy of seeing you for who you truly are, not just for the pieces you're willing to share? These are the people who will honor you in the ways you deserve. You don't need to give your all to everyone. You don't need to explain every thought, every feeling, every part of your journey. There is strength in preserving your essence for the right people. And those people will see you for exactly who you are, not just for what you can give them. And when you protect your soul, you preserve the integrity of your journey. There's a common misconception that silence is somehow a sign of weakness, something that needs to be filled, explained, or avoided. We've all been in situations where we feel uncomfortable in the quiet, when we're expected to speak, to share, to give our thoughts or opinions right away. But I want to challenge that idea, because silence is not weakness. It's actually one of the greatest forms of strength we have. When you choose silence, you're choosing the power of stillness. In a world that constantly demands more, asks for more, and expects more, silence allows you to step back and reclaim your agency. It's the space where you can truly connect with yourself, where your thoughts can find clarity, where your soul can breathe. And it's in this silence that you can hear the voice of your intuition, the quiet wisdom that often gets drowned out by the noise of everyday life. Think about it. How often do you actually give yourself the permission to be silent? How often do you allow yourself to simply be without the constant pressure to perform, to react, to explain? Most of us are so conditioned to fill every gap with words, with action, with productivity. We're told that if we're not constantly moving, constantly making noise, we're somehow falling behind. We're afraid of being misunderstood, of being judged for not saying enough, for not contributing in ways that others expect us to. But what if the real power lies in our ability to sit in silence and trust that the answers are already within us? In fact, it's often the opposite. Disengaged. In fact, it's often the opposite. When you choose silence, you're creating space for something more meaningful to emerge. You're creating the conditions for deeper reflection, for more intentional action, for the kind of connection that doesn't need to be rushed or forced. It's the pause between thoughts, the moment between breaths, where something powerful is happening beneath the surface. In that silence, you're not empty. You're processing, you're listening, you're absorbing. And the more we can embrace the silence, the more we tap into a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Silence also has the power to deepen our relationships. Just think about the times when you've truly connected with someone, not because of what you said, but because of what you didn't say. In those moments, You weren't trying to impress anyone, weren't trying to convince anyone of anything. You simply shared space. And in that space, a deeper bond was formed. Pete, there's an intimacy in silence that words can't always capture, an unspoken understanding that transcends language. It's in those quiet moments that we can truly see and be seen. This is why silence isn't weakness. It's a form of respect. Respect for yourself, respect for the process, and respect for others. When you stay silent, you're not just holding back from others, you're also allowing yourself to fully experience what's going on within you. It's a way of checking in with yourself before you react, before you make decisions that might not align with your true values. When you speak without thinking, when you react impulsively, you're giving away your power. You're allowing the world around you to dictate your actions instead of responding from a place of calm, clarity, and purpose. Let's take a moment to reflect on the power that silence can give you in those moments when you don't know the answer, when you're unsure about the next step, when you feel the pressure of a decision weighing on you. In those moments, silence is your ally. It allows you to step away from the noise and listen to what's beneath it all. It allows you to hear your inner voice, to trust your instincts, and to make decisions that feel aligned with your deeper purpose. When we're too quick to act, too quick to speak, we miss the opportunity to truly listen, to absorb the full picture, and to make choices that are in harmony with who we really are. And let's not forget the power of silence in communication. Sometimes the most powerful message is the one left unsaid. Think about the people in your life who have truly made an impact, not necessarily because of the things they've said, but because of their ability to listen, to pause, to reflect before responding. It's in that silence, that space of deep listening, where we can truly connect with others. When we talk less, we hear more. When we give others the room to express themselves fully, without interruption, we open the door for deeper understanding, for stronger relationships, and for the kind of communication that goes beyond just words. How often do we find ourselves in moments of stillness, not knowing what to do next? In those moments, instead of rushing to fill the silence with distractions, or just trying to make things happen, what if we allowed ourselves the grace to just be? To sit with our thoughts, to feel our emotions, to give ourselves the space to process without judgment. It's in this silence that we grow, that we discover what truly matters, and that we come closer to understanding who we are and where we're headed. By choosing silence, you create a foundation for everything else to build upon. You create a space where your thoughts, your actions, and your relationships can grow from a place of clarity and intention. Silence is not the absence of action, it's the birthplace of meaningful action. It's where you align yourself with your deeper purpose, where you let go of external noise and tap into your true potential. So I ask you to consider this. When was the last time you embraced the silence in your life? When was the last time you gave yourself permission to step back, to listen, and to reflect? In a world that never stops talking, maybe the most radical act of all is to simply be quiet and trust that everything you need is already within you. Because silence is an absence. It's the birthplace of everything that truly matters. We live in a world that constantly demands more from us. More time, more energy, more presence, more output. We're always expected to do, to give, to perform. But somewhere in all of that, we've forgotten the importance of preserving ourselves. It's easy to think that we need to be constantly available, constantly giving of ourselves to others, to show we care, to prove we're capable. But in doing that, we forget that we are the most important asset we have, and protecting that asset isn't a luxury, it's essential. There's a powerful form of self-respect that comes with knowing when to protect your energy. It's about recognizing that not every moment requires your involvement, not every situation demands your presence. When you protect your energy, you're not being selfish, you're being wise. You're acknowledging that, just like any resource, your energy is finite. You can't give it away freely without replenishing it, without considering the impact it will have on your own well-being. But here's the catch. Protecting your energy isn't about isolating yourself. It's not about shutting people out or refusing to engage. Firstly, it's about knowing when and where to direct your energy so that it's spent in ways that align with your values and your purpose. It's about creating boundaries, not as walls, but as pathways that help guide you toward the people, the moments, and the causes that truly matter. Think about the people in your life who drain you. You know the ones I'm talking about, the ones who take more than they give, the ones who demand your time and energy without offering much in return. Over time, these relationships can leave you feeling empty, exhausted, and sometimes even resentful. It's not because you don't care about them, it's because you've given so much of yourself that there's nothing left. And when that happens, you're not doing yourself or anyone else any favors. You're spreading yourself too thin, and in the process, you lose sight of what's truly important to you. But when you take the time to protect your energy, you are actively choosing to value yourself. You're saying, I matter. My time, my thoughts, my emotions, and my efforts all matter. And I will be selective about where I invest them. Protecting your energy means you're putting yourself in the position to give from a place of abundance, not depletion. Not depletion. You're ensuring that the relationships and projects you pour yourself into are ones that will give you as much as you give them, that they align with who you are and what you value. Now, this isn't always easy. We've been conditioned to think that if we're not constantly doing, constantly giving, we're somehow failing. We're told that if we're not available at all times, if we don't jump in to help every time we're asked, we're being selfish. But here's the thing: self-care is not selfish. In fact, it's one of the most generous acts you can do for yourself and for those around you. When you protect your energy, you're ensuring that you're always able to show up as your best self, not as someone who is worn out. I've seen it time and time again. People who give and give until there's nothing left, and then wonder why they feel disconnected, frustrated, or burned out. They've given their energy to so many people, to so many causes, that they forget what it feels like to just be. They forget what it feels like to take a moment to breathe, to reflect, to recharge. And in that space of depletion, they start to lose touch with who they really are. Their sense of purpose becomes clouded by the demands of others, their energy drained by the weight of expectations. But when you protect your energy, when you create healthy boundaries, you're making sure that you don't lose yourself in the process. You're making space for your own needs, your own growth, and your own growth and your own peace of mind. And by doing that, you become a better version of yourself, a version that can show up for others when it matters most, a version that can give from a place of clarity, purpose, and alignment. So how do you protect your energy? It starts with knowing what you stand for. It starts with understanding your own values, your own boundaries, and being clear on what you're willing to accept and what you're not. It's about recognizing that not every situation, not every person, not every opportunity deserves your time and attention. And it's about having the courage to say no, to step away when something doesn't serve you, to make space for the things that truly align with your goals and your values. And let me be clear, this is not a one-time decision. Protecting your energy is a constant practice. It's something you have to be intentional about every day. It requires you to check in with yourself, to be mindful of how you're feeling, and to be willing to course correct when necessary. It means saying no when you need to, stepping back when you need to, and being unapologetic about it. About, 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 about it. And when you do this, when you make the conscious choice to protect your energy, you're sending a message to the world. You are valuable, your time is precious, and you will not be easily taken for granted. Because the truth is, the most important person you will ever take care of is you. When you protect your energy, you're not just helping yourself, you're helping everyone around you. You become more present, more engaged, and more connected to your purpose. You become a person who is able to show up fully, to give with intention, and to make a real difference in the world. You are not a resource to be drained. You are a force to be reckoned with. Protect your energy, and you protect your greatness. Because when you honor yourself, you become the best version of who you're meant to be. Huh. There's a subtle yet profound power in the things we choose not to share. We live in a world that constantly encourages us to speak up, to tell our story, to broadcast our experiences, our successes, our struggles. But what if the most powerful parts of your story are the ones you keep to yourself? E. What if your greatest strength comes not from what you reveal, but from what you choose to keep hidden? We often feel this pressure to explain ourselves, to justify our actions, to make others understand what we've been through, where we've come from, and where we're headed. For where we're headed. But here's the thing. Not every part of your life needs to be shared, and not every detail of your journey needs to be told. Sometimes the most profound parts of your story are the ones you don't speak about at all. Think about it. What would it be like if we were all completely transparent? If we shared every thought, every feeling, every experience as it happened? There's no room for mystery, no space for introspection, no opportunity for others to really see us for who we are beyond the words we say. We become defined by our story, by the parts of us we choose to disclose, but in doing that, we risk losing the essence of who we truly are. The beauty of the unspoken story is that it can't be reduced to a simple narrative. It can't be easily defined, categorized, or understood. It's complex, it's layered, and it's constantly evolving. When we leave parts of ourselves unsaid, we give others the opportunity to see beyond the surface, to recognize that we are more than what we show them. We allow our story to unfold in a way that invites curiosity and deeper connection. That's like her. Now, this doesn't mean that we should live in complete secrecy. It doesn't mean we shouldn't be vulnerable or open to others. But it does mean that we should be discerning about what we share and when. Your story is a gift, but it's one that should be given only to those who are willing to receive it with the respect, understanding, and care it deserves. Not everyone has earned the right to know every part of you, and that's okay. Some chapters of your life are meant to be read only by you, at least for now. Some moments of growth, some lessons are best left unspoken until you've had the time and space to fully process them. By choosing to keep certain parts of your story to yourself, you're not hiding from the world. You're allowing yourself to grow at your own pace. You're giving yourself the grace to evolve, to learn, to discover who you are without the constant pressure of explaining yourself to others. The unspoken story is the one that's still in the making. It's the part of you that's still unfolding, still becoming. And that process of becoming is sacred. Think about the people you admire the most. Are they the ones who share every detail of their lives with the world? Or are they the ones who speak with intention, who reveal only what's necessary, who leave room for mystery and wonder? The most compelling people in the world aren't the ones who are constantly broadcasting their every thought. They're the ones who have learned the power of silence, who know when to speak and when to hold back. They understand that their worth isn't in what they reveal, but in what they choose to protect. In fact, the more we share, the more we risk losing the essence of who we are. We risk being reduced to a set of facts, a series of events, a timeline of our past. But when we leave some of our story untold, when we keep certain experiences and emotions close to our chest, we preserve the richness and depth of our humanity. We allow others to see us for more than just the surface level details of our lives, and in doing so, we invite them into a deeper, more meaningful connection. There's a powerful sense of self-respect that comes with holding parts of your story close. You're not sharing everything, not because you have something to hide, but because you understand that some things are too sacred to be exposed. Not every battle needs to be fought in the public eye. Not every success needs to be celebrated with an audience. Some moments of your journey are for you alone, to cherish, to reflect on, to learn from. And here's the beauty of it. By keeping certain parts of your story to yourself, you allow others to write their own version of your narrative. Yeah, you give them the space to wonder, to question, to interpret who you are based on the moments they've shared with you, not just on the stories you've told. This creates room for connection that's based on the present, on the energy you share in the moment, not just on the past. Cool. The unspoken story allows you to evolve without being tied to a specific narrative. It allows you to move through life without the burden of constantly explaining or justifying who you are. The more you share, the more you risk being defined by the expectations others place on you. But when you hold parts of your story back, you retain control over your own narrative. You give yourself the freedom to change, to grow, to redefine yourself without being shackled to what you've shared in the past. So, I ask you, what parts of your story are you withholding, and why? What aspects of your journey are too sacred to be revealed, and how can you protect those moments for yourself? Your story is yours to tell, and sometimes the most profound parts of it are the ones you don't need to explain at all.